So if you are trying to remove the background and the shortcut under properties does not work for you, there are other ways to remove your background. If you look up at the top near our lasso tool, so the one that we used for the primary color project, they do have a magnetic option. You can also use polygon or the regular lasso where you just click and hold. I prefer the tool right underneath it, and I click and hold down to get the quick selection tool. So quick selection tool, really quick overview. At the top, you'll see that there's a plus and a minus or just a regular paintbrush. If you have the plus, that means that you are adding to the selection. If you have the regular, you're still adding the selection. If you have the minus, you are taking away or subtracting from the selection, which if you hover over it, shows you that's what you're doing. So the plus or the regular would be the ideal to use when you are trying to make a selection. If I'm selecting what I want to remove, I can just click, and every time that I click, it adds to that selection. It's very handy in the cases that you are not able to get exactly what you want selected or removed with the remove background option. If you are selecting and you notice that there's too much selected, you can go to the minus tool at the top and unselect or deselect certain pieces. You can also click and drag if you feel like that's a little bit faster. You want to have a refined selection, so if you need to go back and edit a little bit here and there, it's worth taking the time to do so. It's better to have too much selected than not enough, because we can always erase it later using the eraser tool. It's very hard to bring something back, and by very hard I mean you cannot bring something back once it is gone. Okay, so once you have what you want selected, you can right click, feather, and pick a radius between 2 to 5. I like 3. At this point, you should be able to press backspace and remove your background that way. Press Control and D on your keyboard. Now you have kind of this floating head. You can go back with the eraser tool from your toolbar. Lower the opacity at the top. Use the brackets on your keyboard next to the letter P. Make your brush size a lot smaller. And if you need to erase some of the areas at the top, or really anywhere on the edges, you should be able to do this using the eraser tool. The reason I like the lower opacity is it gives your edges a little bit cleaner. So you just do this until your image is cleaned up. Once your animals or objects have their backgrounds removed and the object or animal is isolated, you're ready to move on to the next step.